Hello dear audience, a very good afternoon. I am Dr.Sree Keerthi, Consultant Interventional Pulmonologist, TX Hospital, Banjara Hills. I am here today to talk about the care that needs to be taken for lung health in summer. So generally people think that winters are bad for patients with lung issues like COPD, asthma, etc. But it is important to note that the scorching heat of summer is equally harsh on lungs. So let us now see as to what can happen and what care needs to be taken. First of all, because of the dry heat, the body can get dehydrated really quick, and that can set off an airway inflammation, especially in patients with COPD. So that can lead to an exacerbation. So drink as much water as possible. Also, if a patient is super dehydrated, it can also trigger hemoptysis, which that means a patient can cough out blood. This can happen in patients with active tuberculosis who may or may not be on anti-tubercular medication, or it can also be seen in people with the old healed tubercular scars. So to avoid such catastrophes, it's better to be hydrated. The next issue would be about the usage of the air conditioners and the air coolers. So if these appliances are not thoroughly cleaned, they might harbor really dangerous organisms like Legionella, etc., which can cause an atypical pneumonia that can turn out to be really serious. So before using such things like air conditioners and etc., clean them properly. And also asthmatics especially should avoid exposure to cool air for a prolonged period, and maybe keep the temperature at optimum level, like maybe at 23-24, and do not go below 20. The next point is for the workout freaks. It's always good to exercise, but try to avoid working too hard on very hot days. Also, if you're a COPD patient under a rehabilitation program, try to keep the exercises lighter. And if you're a fan of marathon, try to avoid long distance running when it is too hot. Maybe you can do it in the early morning and in the late evenings. Also, this warm and humid air can cause activation of certain allergens like the dust mites and molds, etc. So if you have a new onset of symptoms, consult your doctor as soon as possible and be cautious. Also, heat makes the air pollution worser. So this ground level ozone pollution, which is also called smog, can aggressively attack the lungs. So all these harmful gases that are emitted from the vehicles and the industries, when they come into contact with the sunlight, it gets converted into ozone, which is like a sun, which can cause like a sunburn to the lungs. So that can lead to difficulty in breathing, chronic fatigue, or sometimes serious exacerbations in already failing lungs. Serious health issues over time. So always avoid congested roads when it is too hot, and wear a mask if travel is inevitable. So coming to older patients who have lesser awareness of thirst and lesser recognition of water depletion, or they might even be on some medication which causes decreased awareness of thirst. So on a very hot day, what happens, these patients might lose a lot of water through perspiration, and they won't be able to sense it, and they won't be able to make up for the loss, and then that will cause a sudden fall in BP or a sudden blackout. Also in patients with already compromised lungs, like some fibrosis and ILDs, post-COVID or COPD lungs, etc., the increased heat causes increased metabolic demands, and these lungs will not be able to meet those demands, so that they will land up in respiratory failure. So such people, the old patients and the people with the compromised lungs, should be under proper supervision with the medical care in the vicinity and should be well attended to. Like in any season, stay immune, stay protected from infections, eat healthy balanced diet with a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, give your body a lot of protein, Having said that, there are certain foods that you need to avoid, like coconut water if you have cough, and do not consume too sweet and too cool items, especially if you are asthmatic, and avoid excessive alcohol because it blunts awareness of thirst, and also avoid a lot of tea because that is a diuretic and causes loss of fluids, and also stop smoking, that is common for every season. So last but not the least, let's all be environment conscious and take up eco-friendly options in day-to-day life, and be more involved and play our role in addressing this climate change. Maybe we can switch to zero emission vehicles or electric vehicles, or use solar panels, and plant more and more trees whenever and wherever possible. So wish you all a very happy summer, happy vacation. Take care all of you, have fun.